Hizi street daily tuko mamishoni, tunawabeba kama zile feri za Likoni. Kila siku niko mangaikoni, mangaikoni. Kila siku niko mangaikoni, mangaikoni. Kila siku niko mangaikoni, mangaikoni. Kila siku niko mangaikoni, mangaikoni.
Kina mabanga like bang, roadblock imeja mambanga like damn. Switch lanes vile niliwaondokea. It's like we are the only ones rapping out here. Ghetto fabulous for 20 niko East Lando. They can handle us so than nime rich bado. Ni wakukamile design wa overdo. Usidai kubamba cruise kiza usilete udesperado. Hey, city to city, my ex wanna retweet it. Na nikifika scene dili shageuka ni biggie. No nitty-gritty, check the analytics. Hata tukwe watano taga wana 50-50 family code. 100% respect, how it is bro. You try to sabotage, how far, how did it go? The stone that the builder refused. Now it's brick after brick, voice na biti confused.
Hey, kila siku niko mangaikoni, mteja patikani manze namba isomi. Hizi street daily tuko mamishoni, tunawabeba kama zile feri za Likoni. Kila siku niko mangaikoni, mteja patikani manze namba isomi. Hizi street daily tuko mamishoni, tunawabeba kama zile feri za Likoni.
Yeah, force na kosi inafanya wanawika woi. Si ati ni jokes, me ndo reason rappers watu boy. But of course it's pande wananita moi. Kumamake ndio manake na kuja simple boy. Nairobi ni mahangaiko, ndio reason nimefanya cinema vinyangariko. Pale Malaya huku wezi kila pande tuko juu ya pesa imefanya manze jiji ina vituko. Stone face likanye rigiji, ikifikia ni bidii. Tunajituma tukikanyaga mpaka CBD na kumvuka TBT. Hizi shida shigidi zilifanya mamodo wakageuka mapididi. But anyway ni juu ya kukosa cheda na kadhalika. Tukiongeza na vitu kama meda masa imefika. Hakuna gede ya kulala my brother juu utazikwa ukishikwa ukipiga na ngeta.
Kila siku niko mangaikoni, mteja patikani manze namba isomi. Hizi street daily tuko mamishoni, tunawabeba kama zile feri za Likoni. Kila siku niko mangaikoni, mteja patikani manze namba isomi. Hizi street daily tuko mamishoni, tunawabeba kama zile feri za Likoni. Sikiza punch na kick ile tekea ya Njoroge. Bado na roga siezi acha hata waniroge. Nasikia Mombasa wamekataa kaveve kazoze. Man, I'm still dropping these bangers in the city of Nairobi. Yeah, anako pressure kiwa studio na flex. Tunavuka boda mpaka tizi kwa kina Mex. Pay me what you owe me brother, no more no less. Ngumi ni mwex, anytime na pull up na jesh. Nikizaza tuko mtu kama dozen mbili. Kwa bloodline ina damu ya mekatilili. Usipojikaza mjini watakutumia we dada na braza. Chunga wapo wengi makatili. All eyes on me, bringing all this energy. Always make it pin, I've never been afraid of enemies. Melodies, niko ndani booth na piga harmonies. Tell these rappers they cannot handle this. Kila siku niko mangaikoni, mteja patikani manze namba isomi. Street daily tuko
Happy New Week.
Unawabeba kama
1 minute past the top of the hour. How are you doing today?
niko manga.
Your weekend has been amazing,
Kani manze
fantastic,
isomi.
restful,
Street daily
productive.
ni tunawabeba.
How are you feeling? Karibuni sana to yet another beautiful conversation right here on the media of the 21st century.
Manga
Blackout Fire Network.
niko mangaikoni, mangaikoni. Kila siku niko mangaikoni, mangaikoni.
Yes, and that's what's up. That is a Sano Afrocentric playing right here on the media of the 21st century. The name of the jam is Mangaikoni, and of course, I love that jam. Of course, if you guys have noticed, featuring the one and only Caterpillar Elisha Lai, and of course, Karibuni Sana to the Pan-African Bliss. My name is Joby. To the first-time listeners, returning listeners on the radio station, Spreaker, Spotify, wherever you're catching me live from. Hope your weekend has been fantastic. Mine was amazing. Can't complain. Restful, productive at the same time. And I hope yours has been the same as well. And of course, wishing you a beautiful week ahead. As we talk about today's conversation, what has been happening, of course, in Africa, we're going to be talking about what is happening in Nairobi 254, Uganda. There's been actually major floods in East Africa, to be specific. And we're going to be talking about that, but say specifically to be Uganda and Kenya. There's been actually heavy floods, and the Kenyans and Ugandans to be they're talking about how actually this is nothing to do with even nature. This is something to do with the government, where they know very well. This is a discussion we had last week. And of course, also this weekend, there were floods that has actually left 66 people killed. And the numbers are expected to go even higher. So it's crazy because there's no solution, even for the past 1-2 weeks, that the government has actually given, the government of Kenya and also Uganda. Both the governments are silent. They're just talking about how this is something that has been existing for so long. What is the solution? You have governors, you have senators, you have MPs, you have MCs. What are they doing? Literally, MCAs, what are they doing in these counties or communities that they're supposed to be serving people? Where are the funds that actually have been allocated every year to ensure 1, 2, 3 things actually are put together? That is a conversation you're going to be having. And also, you're going to be talking about what is happening in Kenya as well, where Kenya is considering to be actually upgrading a colonial era railway that is with $1.7 billion to export crude oil. It's not even to improve transportation within the country, to export crude oil. We're going to be looking at that. And as we talk about that, we're also going to be looking at also how the US is running low on critical minerals as African countries prepare to step in. But also, I don't think actually African countries are willing to step in, because we're going to be talking about this where there's a major speech that was made by Ibrahim Traore. I'm going to be sharing that as he talks about how he has tried to collaborate with many colonial countries for them to sell them even fighting equipment, fighting jets, but they have refused. And one of the countries is like France, but he's talking very positive of Russia, which personally I've also cautioned that, because we've seen how Russia is treating Africans. But we're not going to focus on that today. We're going to look at the minerals to be specific. And with this, because I'm saying this because I don't think actually African countries are preparing to step in, because we have countries like Botswana, which we saw 2 weeks ago. They announced about taking full control of their mineral resources and locally processing them, and also went ahead and joined hands with Angola and trying to buy stakes. This is from De Beers, one of the companies, that's British-owned company that actually controls, I'd say, big percentage of diamond resources in Africa. We're also going to be talking about what is happening in Senegal, because we also have Senegal, which is revoking 71 mining license and freezing associated accounts to recover roughly $138 million in unpaid fees. And more of that contributed. Also, we have Burundi, which on this other hand is signing deals with America. Remember, America has been doing things to do with Rwanda, which I'm going to be discussing also a little bit about. I've seen they have also sanctioned actually one of the biggest basketball teams in Rwanda. And this is after we saw the military leaders and the Rwanda Defense Forces were sanctioned 2 weeks ago. Much more coming with that conversation. We've seen also countries like Senegal as well, which have also said, I've talked about Senegal. We have China, which is currently looking forward to be talking with Zimbabwe, which also banned exploitation of resources. So I think actually it's a time where I'm seeing, or I've reported actually for the last 3 weeks, that African countries are taking and reclaiming their the control of mineral resources. This is something good. This is actually a good conversation. And I love the fact that actually it's going to be ending with a speech from the one and only Ibrahim Traore, who explains how we've been actually selling our wealth, which is very true, to other countries and not benefiting even a dime. But karibuni sana. Before we get into that, a quick reminder to get yourself, of course, the organic supplements we have on the like of ashwagandha, aloe cucumber soap. In case you're looking for anything organic, we got you covered. We have multivitamin ashwagandha, brain and focus, beetroot. We have literally many amazing supplements. But for now, and for me, I love to share brain and focus, because again, these conversations do require critical thinking. So join me as we talk about this. But for now, listen to
Unlock
the
your
benefits
full
of brain and
potential
focus.
with Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
At a very affordable price. And in case you have any question, as always, kindly remember to email us at kcnewsam15@gmail.com. Rather, you can leave your question still under the sports page itself. We have an active chat where you can leave your comments over there. Or rather, in better, if you are on our WhatsApp chat, literally, you can also question directly right there and you'll be given the answer you are actually seeking. But karibuni sana once again. My name is Job. In case you're here for the first time, kindly do subscribe to any YouTube channel you're streaming live from. In case you're listening to me via BitChute or we're going to be catching this later, kindly hit that like button, leave a comment behind about the conversations we're going to be having here. Anything you understand, literally, leave a comment. Maybe you can also pose any questions you have, and I will be checking onto that later and you'll be answered as well. But karibuni, we're going to start with what is happening, of course, in East Africa. And I'm going to let this lady explain it better before I get to share the images of what went down in Nairobi. That was this particular weekend. We have about 66 people who have been reported dead because of the massive floods that again happened during this weekend. That was on Friday, waking up to Saturday. So many people's businesses again ended up going on a loss. So many people actually went on a loss on their businesses. So many cars again were destroyed. And the fact that it's actually been a week and yet nothing has been done, there's not even any discussion about the motorboats funds. That is actually 1 billion Kenyan shillings that was allocated. That was in 2023. And none of these discussions are being held, neither by the Senate, neither by the MP. This is actually something very questionable. We're actually, again, it comes to our attention again that, like it does every single day, we're really living in a very corrupt system. Nothing is meant to work, and they're not going to do it because what is the reason of you not doing it? I don't understand. What is the reason of you not just wanting to see Africans live good, leave alone even the white man? You as an African, there's some few things, yes, you can be a puppet. There's some few, but there's some few things actually you can still fix and ensure that they are working. And sadly, most of these leaders, none of them, because we were talking about this, I think even 2 weeks ago, you can still, but at least do something to cover people's eyes from us seeing that you're actually stealing the public funds. But there's nothing, not even a single coin. We don't even have an example of how the motorboats were supposed to be looking. All we saw is just pictures of, I think, similar Chinese motorboats that we were supposed to be getting from them. But we've not even seen one picture of any motorboat in Kenya being put into use. Not even one. So this is the second weekend. And again, we can't predict, because the weather of Nairobi sometimes is very unpredictable. We can't say for how long the rain is going to actually prolong. We're not sure for how long it's going to continue raining and how many lives are going to be lost just because someone doesn't want to bring solutions to the majority of the people. It's actually very sad. People are paying people are paying so much in taxes for us to not be explained where is our money, what our money is being used for. And even to make it worse, they come up with other programs to steal much more from you. We saw recently, and we talked about it, about the new law of on the road, the traffic law that has been introduced, where we have cameras that are going to be capturing cars in case of overspeeding and all that. And then in case you abuse the traffic laws, of course, you're going to be sent an SMS for you to pay what you owe the government. But crazy thing that this money is not even going to the system. It's not going to fix anything about Kenya. It's not even going to help any Kenyan. This money goes all the way back to the same president and his family. We're talking about corruption at a very high level. So are we at a point where we can say, again, some things in Africa are not meant to work? As much as we're talking about Africa finally taking back control of its resources, it's actually very questionable. Now, this lady is going to be talking about the amount of debts we have as a nation. And then before she even talks about the amount of debt we have, remember I mentioned that Kenya is considering upgrading, actually not even building, but upgrading the colonial era railway. That is with 1.7 billion Kenyan shillings. So where is this money coming? But I'm not going to talk about that for now. Let's listen to this as we discuss about floods. And then give you an image of what happened during the weekend, and then we're going to look at how Kenya, or where Kenya is supposed to be getting that money, because we're currently, again, as a nation, sinking in debt, paying so much in taxes. None of these funds are paying back the loans actually we owe these Chinese firms or whatever countries we owe. We're still taking more debt. I remember it was just actually, I think, a month ago, where Kenya had reached a limit we couldn't borrow anymore. But it was crazy, just a week after we saw Kenya borrowing again. What kind of a system are we living in? You can't make this thing that.
So East Africa is drowning, not just in floods, but also in debt. Yesterday, it rained so heavily that cars were getting submerged in water. We can blame God for giving us the heavy rains, but it has a lot to do with our governments. Listen, Uganda's debt is currently at 126 trillion Uganda shillings, about 35 billion US dollars. Kenya's debt is currently at 12 trillion Kenya shillings, about 94 billion US dollars. However, in the previous financial year, Uganda's...
And we're supposed to be paying these loans, not in Kenyan shillings, but in US dollars. And with interest. Let's not forget that. With interest. And still with what the people of this country pay in terms of taxes, it's not even being used properly, not even to pay back loans, not even to improve the situations of the country. Where is the money going? I keep on asking the same question, but I know the answer. That is the crazy part. I know where the money is going. I do have the answers, but it's still very crazy. It doesn't make any sense how we've gotten here. It's so sad.
Revenue stood at 31.6 trillion Uganda shillings, about only 8 billion US dollars. In Kenya, the revenue was 2.57 trillion Kenya shillings, about 19.7 billion US dollars. But did you know that out of all that, we pay interest on these debts?
We do.
And the debt servicing for Kenya was 1.6 trillion Kenya shillings.
Oh, damn. Let me...
Breaking news.
Damn. Sorry about that. Let me repeat it again.
So East Africa is drowning, not just in floods, but also in debt. Yesterday, it rained so heavily that cars were getting submerged in water. We can blame God for giving us the heavy rains, but it has a lot to do with our governments. Listen, Uganda's debt is currently at 126 trillion Uganda shillings, about 35 billion US dollars. Kenya's debt is currently at 12 trillion Kenya shillings, about 94 billion US dollars. However, in the previous financial year, Uganda's revenue stood at 31.6 trillion Uganda shillings, about only 8 billion US dollars. In Kenya, the revenue was 2.57 trillion Kenya shillings, about 19.7 billion US dollars. But did you know that out of all that, we pay interest on these debts, and the debt servicing for Kenya was 1.6 trillion Kenya shillings, about 12.3 billion US dollars. And I need you guys to understand that paying interest is not paying the loan. Anyways, Uganda's debt service was 20 trillion Uganda shillings, about 5.6 billion US dollars. The math versus the politics. Now listen, I've always asked myself why governments cannot just make budgets that are within the revenue they have collected instead of borrowing, and why they can never reach out to private citizens with money, because I'm sure Uganda, Kenya, we have billionaires who could actually construct hospitals, and the answer is one: greed. And apparently those guys make a lot of money from giving these contracts to themselves, because they'll be in charge of the control, they'll be in charge of who they hire, they'll be in charge of inflated costs. And some of the case studies are this. In Uganda, we have the most expensive road in the world, which is the Entebbe Express. It cost us 476 million US dollars. But up to date, we are still paying that money. The road was constructed in 2018. At the same time, we had to construct the SGR, and we had to approach the same bank, Exim Chinese Bank, to give us the loan. But they refused to give us the loan because of our previous what?
Debt.
Failures to pay. At the same time, in Uganda, there's a hospital known as Lubowa Hospital. It was suggested back in 2019, and they were supposed to finish constructing it in 2021. But as I speak, that hospital is still under construction, almost 7 years later, with billions pumped in. And the funniest part, it only has 284 beds for a population of over 45 million people. In Kenya here, just last week, they announced that 1.4 trillion Kenya shillings was missing from the e-citizen system.
Exactly. Not just the e-citizens. We have SHA, okay? We have the social healthcare system. We have billions. That is around, I think, 33 billion I was reporting last year in July, where we had 33 billion being lost in schools that don't exist, and students who are receiving funds, students who do not even exist. Where is this money? And so much. The list continues. I wish I actually had queued that video of the guy who was explaining the scandals that actually Ruto is involved in, of corruption and stealing money, because that's what it is, and how he even ended up becoming the fourth richest, actually, let me, if I can say that, the fourth world richest, I think fourth world richest or the fourth African richest, one of the two. President Ruto, just a man who came yesterday. There's nothing, again, the guy was explaining, there's no building, there's no infrastructure, there are no businesses that showcase how this man has acquired this wealth. But they're wealthy out of nowhere, and we have missing public funds. There are projects that have been left unfinished. It's crazy.
They say if you want to understand the situation, follow the numbers. In East Africa, no salary can finance the lifestyle that politicians live.
Of course, number one, I think we've talked about that a couple of times, but maybe it could, hypothetically, I'm just saying, because these people, remember, they also increase their salaries like after, I think, every 3 months or after 6 months. I'm not sure. I remember it was, I think, last year where we had the president requesting to have his salary increased. Leave alone that is his salary. We have the State House this past week where they said they need 17 billion Kenyan shillings for them to be able to run the whole State House of Kenya. 17 billion Kenyan shillings, not for renovation. And I've not even talked about the renovation money they used. I'm about to get into that. Let me see.
I have only understood today that politicians eat contracts just like pastors eat tithes. I took off time to look at countries like Switzerland, and it is only today that I understood that in Switzerland, the citizens literally vote on projects that are going to be undertaken. And so the problem with East Africa is not just a lack of money or a lack of intelligence, but a lack of integrity.
It's a lot, a lack of accountability, lack of integrity, lack of a lot of things. I'm heavy on accountability, especially heavy on the accountability, because they don't like being questioned. That's why they'll actually employ auditors who are not going to do the right job, because they need people who are going to be constantly helping them lie in the audits when people are actually demanding accountability of where the funds. I'm trying to look at there's an article I was reading about. We have the Madagascar president who appointed, that is his financial intelligence. I think the financial intelligence, I'm trying to get that article. If I get it, I'm going to read it for you guys, because again, this is where you can see the country is actually moving towards a good direction. Remember, Madagascar went rogue. That was last year during the elections, where the president who was there was overthrown, and a new leader literally took control of the country. We'd call it again revolution. Madagascar underwent revolution. And after that, of course, we saw sanctions following and all that. We saw last week he had actually fired all the cabinet secretaries because they're all corrupt, and he's appointing new people. Again, you need people who are going to be able to be held accountable, who can actually follow up again on accountability. But still, back to what she said. Now, she's talked about the debts we have as East Africa, specifically about Uganda and Kenya, and we owe trillions. We're talking about billions, trillions of money to the US, and leave alone the interest. The question goes back to, where is this money that we've been borrowing constantly that are supposed to be funded or used to fund certain projects like the hospital she's talked about, yet it's been 7 years later and the hospital is yet to be complete. I'm going to give you another example. We had a bridge that was sharing, I think, with kids sometime last year, which was costing us billions of funds. But if you look at the bridge, it's incomplete. Yet they're saying they have spent billions of Kenyan shillings to build that bridge. Make it make sense. So it's very questionable again. The fact that we're borrowing all this money constantly and we're not seeing actually any projects being complete, not even any being started, answers must be given. Now, let me share back what happened in Nairobi this particular weekend. Similar to what happened in Nairobi the past weekend on Friday, we had massive, crazy floods. And it's been a week again. None of these officials have given even a hint of a solution that is going to be given or provided to Kenyans. Leave alone Kenyans. Leave alone Kenyans. We have leave alone Kenyans, we have are they called Ugandans, like I said. They also experience massive, crazy floods. And there's nothing that Museveni has actually said about the situation. He's not talked about the situation, and this was the condition.
Tumechukuliwa na maji Sakaja umerara Sakaja le hatari wa Kanairo wa Kubaya.
And it was worse than this. It is worse than what I'm showing. It's just that right now I can't find the videos and the images of all that. But as we continue with today's conversation, now back to still Kenya and how we are misusing the money we're taking in terms of debt. Now we have Kenya, which has said it's considering again rebuilding. Leave alone the fact that we have the debt the lady has mentioned. And now we want to look at where Kenya is going to be getting this money. I think it's just 2 weeks ago. I was trying to read this. Someone distracted me entering the studio. Let me just read this. We had Kenya, which allocated literally 3.3 billion Kenyan shillings for renovation of the State House, Nairobi, and various state lodges that is as of September 2024. And then again, we have Kenya government, which has said we need 17 billion Kenyan shillings for State House management. This is not renovation. After they spent 3.3 billion on renovation, now they need another 17 billion on renovation. Now, quick shift very quickly. Now, how is Kenya going to be getting, where is it going to be getting these funds to upgrade the colonial railway, our colonial era railway road, or whatever they want to call it, right? Because they're saying they're doing this in order to export crude oil by 2030. Not even to improve the transportation of Kenya, not even trying to improve the other railways that we have or expand even some in Kenya so we can make transportation easier. No, it's for exporting our mineral resources, which we've been exporting and still not even benefited a goddamn dime from it. Funny, right? That only Africa does this, right? America wouldn't. America wouldn't dare. So we have Kenya, which is considering a $1.7 billion plan to upgrade and extend a colonial Kenya is considering a $1.7 billion plan to upgrade and extend a colonial era railway to help transport crude oil from its northern west oil fields to an export terminal of an Indian Ocean by 2030. And the proposed project would involve building about 640 kilometers of meter gauge railway from Nakuru in the Rift Valley to the Oil South Loikach Basin, creating a new route for moving crude to the coast for international markets. The railway is seen as a more flexible and cost-effective alternative to other transport options, such as pipelines. By using rail tanks, cars, Kenya could move oil from inland production sites to the coast while also supporting other cargo such as cement clinker, they're calling it clinker, and minerals, and improving the commercial value of the project. The proposal also follows earlier efforts of to develop Kenya's oil sector, including plans for pipelines and roads transport of crude. Initially, production from the region, which is expected to be modest, but it could grow significantly over time, making rail a strategic option for scaling up exports. That is exporting, scaling export. If completed, the railway would play a key role in strengthening Kenya's energy. Thank you. Okay. If completed, the railway would play a key role in strengthening the Kenyan's energy infrastructure and positioning the country as a regional oil exporter. Now, I'm telling you, this is not only going to, because the question is also where is the oil coming from? And I think I talked about the Kenya-Somali borders being opened and where we have in the north, leave alone this being elections connected. Kenya-Somali border is all about the election, but also in the northern parts of Kenya, we have massive oil, and the amount of control that goes on there, I'd say the killings or how politicians are even fighting each other to take control of that particular region, it's really, really crazy. So the question is again, where is the country getting the money? I don't think we're actually being given the we're not being told where the money is coming from. They're not saying if Kenya is going to be taking a loan for these funds, but I bet they will, because what again are we doing to be having all these funds? I don't see nothing. And I want to read a couple of comments from the people on what they understand about this. Someone says, we want to know how the oil revenue will fund our infrastructure. Exactly. Where is all the profit that the country should be receiving? Where is it going to be going? And I love the Kenya of today. Oh my God, I really love the Kenya of today. I love the Kenyans of today and the Kenya of today, because people are questioning things and they need answer. People are starting to understand that we're so wealthy. Our countries are so wealthy. It's just that the people are poor because they are being made poor on purpose, because the political class only wants to enrich itself and the international countries only, not Africans. People are starting to understand that and they're connecting the dots. Exactly. We want to know how the oil revenue will fund our infrastructure, build schools, thank you, hospitals, exactly, increase wages, or who's accountable for the revenue expenditure. Thank you. It's unfortunate that the oil revenue will go into some people's pocket. And that is very, very true. And I support that comment. Because if you go back to what this lady is actually trying to explain, we're gonna borrow this money. Where's Kenya? Where's Ruto getting this money to actually, again, just all of a sudden, we need to upgrade the colonial era railway to benefit who? The Kenyans or your same colonial system? Those are the questions and the answers we should be actually asking as a people. And then there's someone also who is saying, let me see another comment of someone who's trying to make sense. Someone says, expect to see Bill Gates come into lecture about climate change, then scraps this deal like they always do. And people, of course, are starting to understand. Ruto is the beneficiary, not Kenya. Exactly. Ruto is the beneficiary, and the people is actually going to be cooperating with the term they love using with the international communities. Oh, we know we're going to be cooperating because Kenya cannot do this. Why can't we build processing companies right here for us to process our own oil? It's actually very simple. I was watching a video of how we're supposed to be processing our own oil. It's very cheap. It's very, very, very cheap and affordable. Very cheap. Why wouldn't we do it? If we can take this money, import maybe machines that we need because we're not making anything so far, or like Keith says, we can reverse engineer this or everything that we know or the knowledge we know from other countries and make it beneficial for us here in Africa. Because who is benefiting? That's the question. And the last comment I'm going to read under this is someone says, why isn't Kenya as they should invest more in their own country why isn't Kenya as they would invest more in their country? It is the West. I think he's trying to mean the West benefit more than Kenya. I think that's what they meant. But yeah, we need answers about this. And of course, I'll be following up more during the week as we see how and where the country is getting all these funds, because I do bet either from America or China, someone is going to be, of course, allocating these funds. And who is going to be benefited? Bet it's not Kenyans, just like the comment section is saying. But as we move away from that and more other news of what is happening in Africa, now as we get into them, mineral resources topic, which is still what you can see Kenya is doing, because this is still under mineral resources. We have the US, which they're claiming that is actually running low on critical minerals as African countries prepare to step in. Now, the question is, are African countries really preparing to step in, or are African countries actually more standing on business? And when I mean standing on business is whereby they're now taking back control of their own resources. Leave alone Ruto. Don't put Ruto on that basket, okay? Ruto is out of the equation of the African countries that are trying to actually take control of their mineral resources and locally process them. Ruto is not even thinking about that. Not even collaborating with another country. Ruto is not thinking about that. That is not something our subject is thinking about. But they're saying, let me give this report, and then we're going to look at a few countries like Zimbabwe, Senegal, who have actually banned on, and also we had Botswana recently, who have banned on exportation of their mineral resources. And then what Ibrahim Traore said also during this weekend, he gave a very bold speech regarding our resources, saying that we sell away our wealth in the name of profit, yet we don't even benefit a dime from this profit. So reports suggest that the United States may have only about 2 months worth of rare earth minerals remaining in its national defense stockpile, raising concerns about the stability of supply for critical technologies. Rare earth elements are essential for manufacturing advanced electronics, renewable energy system, and military equipment such as fighter jets, missiles, and radar system. With demand growing rapidly and supply chains under pressure, Washington is increasingly looking for a reliable partner to secure these strategic materials. Severe minerals-rich African countries are now gaining attention as potential suppliers. Nations such as Botswana, which is a lie, because their attention is shifting from not cooperating and collaborating. We have to be very factual about what the mainstream media is reporting and what I've actually reported. Botswana has said no more exportation of natural resources, and they say they're going to locally process them. So saying that nations as Botswana are one of the countries that are actually gaining attention as potential suppliers, nah, it's a lie. But let's listen. Nations as Botswana, South Africa, and the Democratic Republic of Congo possess significant reserves of critical minerals and are reviewed as possible partners to help stabilize supply if shortages are to worsen. Analysis say that strengthening trade and investment ties with these countries could play an important role in reducing supply risk while also creating economic opportunities across Africa mining sector. That is the bullshit and the term they love using, opportunities and all that. But never when it comes to let's actually share this half. Actually, I'm supposed to get the bigger portion. You get the small portion because I'm the main original owner of these resources. The situation highlights how global competition for strategic minerals is intensifying as countries move to secure the resources needed for modern technology and defense industries. For African producers, the growing demand could place their continent in a stronger position within global supply chains, potentially reshaping the geopolitics and critical minerals in the years ahead. Well, personally, I would say we need to scrap that bullshit of always saying that, what's the term they're using? Let me go back. The situation highlights how global competition for strategic minerals is intensifying as countries move to secure the resources needed for modern technology, and the growing demand could place the continent in a stronger position within global supply. We don't want to supply anymore. I feel like that's what we need to do. And Ibrahim Traore is gonna say it all. We don't need to be the suppliers, especially if we don't benefit. I shouldn't continue supplying anything to you if I don't benefit. at all. Because if I look at the terms and conditions that we've set from the word go, I never benefited even a dime. So why should I collaborate with you right now? What has changed with your behavior? Those are the questions that African countries need to ask. But I personally do disagree that maybe countries like South Africa, could be one of the countries they're working with so that they can supply resources to them, because we've seen the presence of Israel also in South Africa so bad, and we know who Israel is. We don't need to get into that. Botswana is taking control of their resources. That's why you can see Trump very mad. Trump was mad. I think he sanctioned Botswana. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to be checking on that as well, because the Botswana president said, I'm not going to come to you. You are the buyer. I am the seller. You want the products, come to where they are. Exactly. And this time, it has to benefit us. Scrap all the deals we've been making. It has to be beneficial to us. But as we continue, we have that now, the fact that they're saying America is running low on critical mineral resources and the African countries are getting ready to step in. That is a lie, because countries like China is set to actually renegotiate its business arrangements with Zimbabwe as it seeks to persuade Harare to reserve its indefinite ban on lithium exports. Now we had that is the Sinomine Resource Group, which is a Chinese company, is seeking to renegotiate its business arrangements with Zimbabwe as it pushes for a reversal of the country's indefinite ban on lithium export. Zimbabwe is Africa's largest lithium producer, imposed the ban to encourage local processing and ensure that the country benefits more from its vast mineral resources. This Chinese mining and resource development firm is now in the discussion with authorities in Harare, and in an effort to persuade the government to reconsider the policy and allow exports under revised terms. Well, I'd say Botswana need to say no. We need to say no. We need to say no. Someone says China could set a camp in Harare as an investor and sell from here. We don't need none of that. We don't need none of that. I hope Zimbabwe actually sticks to its own decision making. They stand to their own decision of not allowing Chinese companies. As a matter of fact, kick out all the remaining Chinese companies, just like what Senegal is doing. Kick out all the Chinese mining companies and actually let them pay you back. Because again, if we go back to the first video of our African countries we owe America or China debts, these people owe us a lot. If we go back to the books, literally, if we go back to the books and we look at the amount of resources these people have stolen from countries, it could actually pay back the debt they claim we owe them. And as a matter of fact, you owe us a lot more than we owe you. That's actually even another real discussion I like saying. These Chinese, the Wests or whatever companies, they owe us more than Africa owes them, because you've been stealing from the continent of Africa from decades. It's been decades. We can't even say how many decades. So how do we owe you pieces of papers while you've been taking away what is real from us? And I'm going to share Ibrahim Traore's video just after this, because we have Senegal, which is revoking 71 mining licenses and freezing associated accounts to recover roughly, that is $438 million in unpaid fees. And addition to that, they're saying that, of course, this is from companies that fail to meet the contractual obligations. And we have, that is Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko. Remember, Ousmane Sonko was the man who was supposed to be standing president in Senegal, and a lot, I believe, would have changed actually if he was the one who became president. But they arrested him and made the junior who he was teaching the president, that is Diomaye Faye. But yeah, the Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko announced that the sweeping measure on March 12, 2026 was signaling a firm push to tighten oversight in the country's resources sector and ensure companies operating in the mining industry comply with the financial commitments in the state. But this still doesn't reduce the amount of extraction of resources, because God knows how many airstrips are built within the country in unknown regions, just like we have here in Kenya. We have in our national parks literally airstrips that have been built without us knowing. And they're exporting words of millions of resources. We're talking about gold, talking about silver, talk about oil, and so much. It's super, super crazy. But let's look at what Ibrahim Traore was saying. I loved this speech about him, literally. So I'm going to share it with you guys as we get to understand what he was saying on this particular speech. So let me share my screen. Karibu sana Joe Mosquito. How are you doing today? Hope you had a beautiful weekend and wishing you a beautiful week ahead and a productive one and a peaceful one.
From 1960 until today, so-called independence, you know very well there are a lot of words. It's not working. We produce a lot. We have all the resources. But why isn't it working? There's something that's not right. Our raw materials are exported. They are processed and then sold back to us again. So in a way, we're exporting our jobs and all our wealth. Economically, nothing is working. In terms of defense, as we've seen with the war, nothing is working. Why should we continue? We're changing partners.
What guarantees that Russia will be better than France in the future?
The Russians are following very closely what is happening in Africa. And it's because they are also anti-imperialist that our minds, our ideas converge. Already, when you look at our equipment here, most of our equipment is Russian. Most of it. They agree to sell us everything. Have you seen any equipment? French, maybe? Here? There aren't many. Just a few. Today, in this war, as we say, this year we have experienced it. For example, many imperialist states refuse to sell to us. They refuse to sell us what they call the mounts, the cannons. The ones that are mounted on the planes, they refuse to sell them to us. And with France, there are many things we want to pay for, but they won't give us the license. They won't sell to us. Even with the Americans, we've had problems. So the terrorists must have a weapon. They shoot at us. But as for us, we shouldn't see what kills. It's tear gas.
And of course, the terrorists are funded. We know very well who funds these terrorists. I mean, we just saw how Nigeria caught a UN, was it Nigeria? I think still Burkina Faso itself, where they caught a UN drone which was carrying, it was Congo, sorry, that was in DRC Congo, where they caught a drone with gold and weapons as well. Who are these weapons coming to or going to? It's not the defense forces of the DRC. It's going to the so-called jihadists, the Al-Shabaab and all those.
Something else. I don't know. If we are at war and we have people dying, we want to defend ourselves. And if you refuse to sell us what is lethal, you are not our friends.
Hello,
So
Africa, my dear brothers and sisters. Hopefully, okay, you are doing well. Welcome back to your lovely channel. In this video, a powerful conversation made by Captain Ibrahim Traore in English version. In this video, you will understand why Traore banned political parties, why Traore hated Western power, so and many other things. So join with me in this powerful conversation that will shock you and you'll understand many things from Captain Ibrahim Traore.
I love this brother's channel, but his English, oh my God. I don't want to make fun of him, but I personally, I can never listen to like a full video of him trying to explain things because his English is always like kind of off. But shout out to the brother, man. I love his channel. Still, I get a lot of content from him. I learn a lot from him. He keeps us posted on things maybe I have not been posted on. So shout out to the brother, man.
Here is a full conversation.
Today we are at war, and we have also followed along. We judged that it wasn't sincere. We stopped. Why? From 1960 until today, so-called independence, you know very well there are a lot of words.
So-called independence.
It's not working.
Exactly. So-called independence. And that's why we have, of course, a man like him who just recently, that is 2 days ago, that was his birthday. So happy belated birthday. Mr. President Ibrahim Traore doing amazing and showing Africa the possibilities they've been told they didn't have of taking control of their countries, ruling themselves and their resources. Yes, the so-called independence. That is the fake term we've been given. And sadly, again, I love going back to a conversation I was having just recently with a friend of mine when we were having a topic on the Kenyan sovereignty. And I said Kenya is not a sovereign country. Again, Kenya, none of these African countries actually are sovereign. Because again, if you are a sovereign country, or actually you do care about democracy and the independence of the people, you should let people question you when you're on the wrong. You should let people raise their voices and air their opinions about what they need, what should be working in the country, because it's clear that you don't. There's no public participation. There's nothing such as public participation in these African countries. These are terms that they just put in the law, but they're never obeyed. Terms that have just they've been written on the fake democracy papers, but yet cannot be obeyed. So yes, I love that. The so-called fake independency.
We produce a lot. We have all the resources, but why isn't it working? There's something that's not right. Our raw materials are exported. They are processed and then sold back to us again.
Shout out to Ruto. Like, people already complain about the amount of oil, how the oil prices are rising because of what is happening between Iran, Israel, and America. African countries, this should be the time. Again, in this kind of situation, you would have saved yourself big time, because not only are you the producers, but it would have even been cheaper for you because you have it in your own home. You not only just produce oil, but you locally process it in all those different levels for you to be able to become you're the market. Literally, let me just say that we are the market. But sadly, it's crazy. We are the market, but we become the buyers despite owning the market. Isn't that crazy?
So in a way, we're exporting our jobs and all our wealth. Economically, nothing is working. In terms of defense, as we've seen with the war, nothing is working. Why should we continue? We're changing partners.
What guarantees that Russia will be better than France in the future?
The Russians are following very closely.
And that is a very good question. I love that journalist question, because that is a question personally I've also been asking. Why should the Alliance Sahel state as a whole take Russia to work with them? But he's going to explain also very well. But also with that, I also did question, should Burkina Faso at this point even question about what is happening to Africans in Russia, or should they keep quiet? Because I don't think any of their citizens, and him being in control, and I bet most of the Burkinabe people right now, of course, they have jobs, they are being paid well, because the country is not only improving itself economically through its mineral resources, but ensuring the lives of every Burkinabe person's needs is met. So maybe they should just mind their business and mind what is happening in their own country. But again, I believe with this leadership, what I've seen is not just doing this for Burkina Faso. It's for Africans to understand also the type of leadership you deserve.
What is happening in Africa? And it's because they are also anti-imperialist that our minds, our ideas converge. Already, when you look at our equipment here, most of our equipment is Russian. Most of it. They agree to sell us everything. Have you seen any equipment? French, maybe? Here? There aren't many.
Of course they won't.
Just a few. Today, in this war, as we say, this year we have experienced it. For example, many imperialist states refuse to sell to us. They refuse to sell us what they call the mounts, the cannons. The ones that are mounted on the planes, they refuse to sell them to us.
And then it's crazy. If we go back to the article I just read you, again, America, let me go back to that article very quickly. America losing critical minerals, right? And these minerals, if you look at all of them, they're the same minerals that are coming from countries like Congo, Zimbabwe, many African countries, but they still won't help these countries. They still won't help the same countries after taking resources here. You won't sell me back what I gave to you for you to be able to acquire what you have. It's crazy. Why am I supposed to continue doing business with you? Again, that's where critical thinking applies with Ibrahim Traore. Why should I continue having any ties with you as America, as China, if you've been actually not only stealing from the continent, my countries. Why should I continue business with you if you can't sell me back what I just gave you an opportunity to have? You don't have it in your country. That's why you're running low on mineral resources and you need them.
France, there are many things we want to pay for, but they won't give us the license. They won't sell to us. Even with the Americans, we've had problems.
Of course.
So the terrorists must have a weapon. They shoot at us. But as for us, we shouldn't see what kills. It's tear gas. It's something else. I don't know. If we are at war and we have people dying, we want to defend ourselves.
Of course.
And if you refuse to sell us what is lethal, you are not our friends.
Of course.
Sir, let's talk about politics.
Exactly. If you refuse to sell me anything, while I know you're getting the materials from my country or my continent, why the hell am I supposed to be working with you? Why am I collaborating with you? What's that cooperation partnership about? Nothing.
Political and institutional reforms. So when will it happen? When will the suspension of political party activities be lifted?
The suspension was not by choice. You see, it's a matter of security, first and foremost.
It shouldn't be lifted.
We don't want people to start political activities and then have to deploy forces to ensure security.
Exactly.
Because I think there was a case in a neighboring country where politicians wanted to hold a meeting and people came and attacked them. That's it. And that caught our attention.
And not just that, we understand political parties, for those, of course, who have seen how political parties play the games of tribalism, the games of division. Political parties are distraction. It was just on Friday, I reported, let me check that very quickly. One of these countries, it was an African country which has, that was Haiti. Yeah, I just remembered. I reported Haiti having 280 political parties. In a population of how many people? You need 280 political parties. I don't even know how many are in Nigeria. I'm about to check that. But I know in Kenya, in a population of 56 million people, we only have 5, if at most, actually 6. But currently, I think we only have 4 political parties. We can't be having those many political parties. They cause confusion. Already with the 4 we have, we've seen the effect of it tribalistically, if there's such a term, yeah, tribalistically or tribal way, tribal what? Yeah, tribalistically sounds better. Tribalistically, division-wise, we've seen there's no unity actually that it comes with. It doesn't come also with common agenda with the Mwananchi. It's just the same old tricks of political gains and benefit, not the citizens. Nothing to do with the Kenyans or Nigerians or Ghanaians or Somalians, nothing.
Well, it's difficult. We want to use our forces for something else. Today, I was telling you that many dignitaries are under protection. You see that you don't see too many police officers in the streets like that. That's it. We're focused on the war. We can't yet split up to secure a lot of... There are too many political parties. What is it?
What are you afraid of, the political parties in Burkina Faso?
Afraid of what?
If they resume their activities with possible mobilizations, it could go on endlessly.
No, we're not afraid of that. I'm telling you, it's the people who decide.
Exactly.
Are you sure there will be mobilization? No, that's not what
we're afraid of. Why don't you let them resume their activities without any problem?
It's a matter of security, I said. If tomorrow people are told to resume their activities and then they get attacked, what would you say then?
The OECs.
Exactly. And we have to understand the political parties, most of them, if they're given the permission to come back, they'll want or find ways of ensuring Ibrahim Traore is also taken out. Because trust me, again, Africa, there's so much corruption that people don't understand how to live with accountability. That's just the truth. Most of the people don't know how to live under accountability too. And that is with most of these political parties. Most of them are corrupt. But of course, the moment also you open the doors to political parties, that's where we have the foreign companies or powers coming in, trying to fund these political parties with money. Okay? The fake paper again system comes in a country where someone is actually trying to build something real with real things and the people. So it's going to open a door of him being easily assassinated. So I love the fact that actually is aware this is not only about the parties, this is about security. Because What?
who carry out activities similar to political parties.
The OECs, who carry out activities like what activities?
The civil society organizations that support, in particular,
The marches, what do you call that? The rallies and
several other things as well.
Are you sure those are OECs? It's the people. Because when you say OECs, those are generally people who maybe... There you go, all...
The paperwork. The general feeling is that there might be double standards.
No, it's a spontaneous phenomenon. It's not necessarily an OEC that organizes an activity or something else. It's a spontaneous phenomenon. It's the popular masses who have understood and who support it. So this is something else. It's not necessarily a CSO that stood up to organize an event. In any case, we have suspended it for security reasons. And if necessary, we analyze the situation and we will lift it.
What exactly do you intend to do to clean up this political life? And if so, how do you plan to proceed?
Try to, I see we have Chris, I'm going to call you Chris. Chris is God, or Christ is God. Oh, shit. Shout out to you. Amen. You're saying there's nothing like Pan-African talk about your country. I have never seen Trump talk about Kwan American. He said, make US again. And is it great again? If I ask you, y'all get it shitted on. Is it getting any better? Let's just be very factual now. If you want to give facts, is America getting any better? I report about American news every evening, and I understand this, the condition America is in right now because of Trump. Is America getting any better? You might be right. There's nothing like Pan-African talks in my country. Or I think what you're trying to say is exercise. You should say there's nothing like Pan-African exercise. Let me give you good grammar, right? In my country. But we're trying to do so. We're not trying to, make Kenya great again, and it's all getting torn. We're attacking countries. We're not bombing anyone here. There's nothing there's nothing as such we're doing. And that's why you can say in this platform, we talk about Pan-Africanism. So welcome, join the conversation and have, how do I say, good argument points. Okay? Because Pan-African talks actually are very much active right now in Africa than ever. The only thing you need to say is there's no Pan-African exercises yet that much, but the talks are there. So get your books right and your facts right. Christ is God. Amen? Okay, thank you.
Of course, we are going to clean it up. I think there is a need to review the texts. Do you think it's normal, even when you look at the number of political parties in Burkina, do you think it's normal that we have all these ideologies to develop Burkina? Do we need 100,000?
So you intend to address multipartyism, which has already been basic law?
Multipartyism will continue to exist. In any case, there will be conditions to be able to participate.
Exactly.
Those who meet the conditions will participate.
Exactly. They need to be, exactly. And that should have been done a long time ago. When you talk about having different political parties, there should be terms and conditions. And again, this only works in such a country, in a country like Burkina Faso, where there's accountability. If you're found in any corrupt file or found under the corrupt line, it's not only over for you, but you're going to jail for this amount of time or for life. If you're found you've been doing this and this and this and this, there should be terms and conditions that should be followed by these political parties. But it's crazy. It's only in Africa where I don't know if it's only in Africa or the system is set up the same globally, because again, elections, the system is run the same globally. There's nothing different. We're run by puppets. People just obey orders and take rules. Apart from him, the man you can see on your screen. That's why they're trying to assassinate him. That's why they're consistently active day and night trying to assassinate him. We need terms and conditions, because again, I'm saying, I don't know if it's only in Africa where we just wake up today, I say, I'm a political party of the Kamba nation. Or then we're gonna have in the other region, let's say in the northern Nyanza of Kenya, we're gonna be having someone like Raila Jr., the political party of the Luo people. And then we're going to be having someone like Uhuru Kenyatta's grandson who rises up out of nowhere. Oh, I'm going to be the next political party of the Kikuyus. So how does that work? So if you talk about that, that is where we can say Pan-African exercises are not being done. But the talk is there. The Pan-African, that does not practice, or it doesn't fall under any, it doesn't fall under the statement of Pan-Africanism. Actually, what I've just explained, having all these tribal political parties, that is division. There's no unity there. And there's going to be literally no exercise of Pan-Africanism if that happens. The talks are there. The exercise is what we should focus on.
Mr. President, there are people who are always demonstrating, who support you. And if there are people who want to organize protest marches.
Well, welcome. I think you joined me late, and I think that's why you're not able to understand even where I am with my conversation. I was just talking about Kenya, and I do talk about Kenya, okay? One thing I'm going to make very clear, again, I think as not journalist, but yeah, also as a journalist, most of the people get picked on. You know, I'm not going to let anyone pick on me just because you're not understanding a topic, or you don't understand the difference of where I am and where you are. If you're a Kenyan, talk about Kenya and how Kenya can develop. If you go to Namibia, they will tell you you're not part of them. Make Kenya great again. That's the problem. You see, I can't even have an argument with you because your argument is already out of line by you saying, because if you talk about Pan-Africanism is not me saying, or is not a Namibian saying, I'm not part of them. Is us understanding and going back to Ubuntu. Do you know what Ubuntu means, brother or sister? I don't know which gender you are, but do you understand Ubuntu? Can you go back to the ancient Kemet, or how Africans actually were living before the white people came and destroyed Africans' lifestyle? And when they forced Africans to be accepting cultures and traditions that are not theirs, can we address that? Because Pan-Africanism is me recognizing Namibian, sorry, is it Namibian? Yeah, it's a Namibian, yeah, as my brother or as my sister. And if I go to Namibia, I expect a brother and a sister to receive me the same. And I'm not talking about the white people, because I know white people also in Namibia. So I don't know which group of Namibians also you're talking about. Is it the Afrikaners wannabe? Or is it the Africans? Who is it? You got to be specific on conversations. Man, you can't come with just weak-ass argument points and you don't even understand what the conversation is. It's not right. It's not okay. Shout out to you, Jibajaba Karibu Sana. Hope you had a beautiful weekend and wishing you a beautiful week. But for those who are just maybe joining right now, I'm going to keep it very simple to explain what I'm sharing. I'm sharing a video, and since the beginning of the conversation, we've been talking about how African countries, not only do they borrow loans, but where do the money go, right? And then we've looked at countries like Kenya, Uganda, the amount of debt we have. And if you look at our infrastructure, very, very poor. Kenya and Uganda, for the past few weeks, we've been experiencing massive floods. And the question goes back to countries like Kenya, let me be specific, where in 2023, we had 1 billion Kenyan shillings allocated for the motorboats, but was not used. Accountability in that, nobody questions, and we need maybe, again, like I'm saying, we need good auditors who can tell us where this money went. Apart from that, I just mentioned where the Kenyan government spent 3.3 billion on renovation of State House. Leave alone that, we have 17 billion last week, which they said needs to be allocated for the State House funding. Make me understand, how does the Kenyan State House spend more than the White House in America? It doesn't make sense. Those are the questions Kenyans are asking. So to the point where I talked about countries that are actually taking control of their mineral resources. We've seen countries like Zimbabwe being begged by Chinese company to take them back. We've seen Senegal literally revoking 71 mining companies because of not meeting the terms of conditions in the country, which actually say they need to get them out. We've seen countries like Botswana, who recently not only collaborating with Angola by buying shares in De Beers, they say they are not going to be exporting mineral resources again. they're going to be locally processing them. And I talked about Kenya saying that they are going to be exporting crude oil. And with this, they need to actually upgrade the colonial era railway. And the amount of money they're going to be spending is 1.7 billion Kenyan shillings. And the question I asked is, which you're not given under the statement, is where is Kenya going to be getting this money? Again, it goes back to the loan trap. So where I am right now, for those who are joining, and for you, brother Chris or sister Chris, I'm not really sure which is it, Christ, huh? We're talking about the Burkinabe president who is explaining how we've been exporting our wealth, why he has actually gotten rid of Western companies, because there's no way you're not going to collaborate with me if you can't even let me buy equipment or weapons from your country. And those are countries like France, America, which we've seen America sanctioning countries like Burkina Faso before, Mali and Niger. So I hope up to there, my dear brother, we are okay. And when you talk about Pan-Africanism and understand the term Pan-Africanism, if I go to Namibian black brothers, to be specific, yes, they will consider me as their own. If they're not mumus, let me be very honest. If they are well educated and they understand we've been divided by these political parties, like what he's explaining, you'll understand what is happening. Now, I hope up to there we're good and you've understood what I'm talking about. Karibu sana Kit, how are you doing?
Sana Joby, how are you this morning?
I'm great. Can't complain. Grateful for life, health, and enjoying my show. How are you doing? How was your weekend?
And my internet was fucked up all weekend. Shit, I want to do it. Had them come try to fix it Saturday because I got at somebody put a fence and they cut the wire and it just fucked all the damn internet just all the hell up. It's storming like, hey, I know it's gonna be storming pretty bad with jibber jabbers. That you right, jibber jabber? You got that storm? It's supposed to be going across the whole east. It's storming like shit out here. My lights almost went out.
Damn,
So
you're on the dark? Damn.
Nah. I'm not in the dark. I said they flickered. They didn't go out. I'm still got lights.
Oh.
I'm using my phone internet. I still don't got no internet.
Like, damn, I've never heard you say there are no lights. And I was like, welcome to Nigeria, guys.
Nah, I got my light's still on, Joe.
Yes, Karibu, Sarah.
My light's still on. I just don't got no internet. So
okay, yeah. So
I'm on my phone.
I've explained what I was talking about for those who are just joining. So I'm sharing a video of Ibrahim Traore, who's talking about our mineral resources and why we don't need political parties. That's where we are so far. And why he got rid of Western nations, Western countries, to be specific, because there's no benefit that comes with them. All they do is still extract. But when it comes to
they don't ever. What they do, they come into a country, they put a puppet in, they pay the puppet a little bit of money, and then they steal all the damn money from the resources. That's what they do. So that's why, when the sales states got with Mohammed Bazoum and all these other goofballs, they start being able to keep their own money. That's why Europe try to kill them and try to destroy them, because Africans don't control none of their own minerals. It's the most insane shit. That's why Africans are poor. You don't control none of that belongs to you. It is absolutely crazy. That when you're supposed to get fake independence, you didn't take back your minerals. And shout out to everybody say, oh, we want to be Singapore. We want to be Singapore. We want to be Singapore. If you guys didn't know, I tried to teach you guys, Ghana under Kwame Nkrumah, when he first got, he's the only one that did it in Africa. When he got power, he started building. He said, no more shit going to Britain. We're going to start building infrastructure here. We're going to start developing here. We're going to be manufacturing here. So the guy from Singapore, that you think you guys, he went to Ghana and learned how Ghana was getting down. And the white man said, we got to overthrow this nigga in Ghana, kill him or something, because he put Africans as a power. We can't have that. You can everybody, we want to be Singapore. Go study, go learn what Singapore was doing. Singapore was but poor. He went to Ghana because Ghana had more jobs because they had because you guys got all the damn materials. So Ghana started building all these manufacturing plants. They had more jobs. They knew what to do with. So they were telling other Africans come to Ghana so you have a job. And so, of course, the Africans sadly were stupid and so they can put propaganda in there. The CIA put all this propaganda and people turned against them. It's absolutely crazy. That's why they keep the Africans so fucking ignorant. Why you got the goopy school fees. Keep you stupid as shit. We got the Nigerians running around talking about Palestine. I mean, I'm talking about Israel. They keep you goopy and ignorant on purpose. So when all these goopy Negroes, we want to be like Singapore. We want to be like Singapore. Singapore doesn't have no damn breed. Doesn't have shit. The Singaporeans came to Ghana, started learning what Kwame Nkrumah was doing. That's why they say, hey, we gotta repeat what Ghana was doing. Because you have the resources. The show, like I said, should be no poor African countries. That's absolutely backward. How can Africa be poor? You have all the goddamn shit that everybody needs to live. How can you be poor? Because you got morons running the country because they put their puppets in there. That's why. Like I said, Ghana wasn't like no damn mirror. I mean, Ghana's fucked up today. You look at back then, they were coming in, but a manufacturing power 10 times richer than China. Remember, China was still fucked up. China don't got no resources. So the white man made the deal and brought shit from Africa to them, but Ghana said, hey, we got all this shit here we need. Let's just start manufacturing everything. And so, it's an African miracle. Why is it a miracle? Because you got to think everything there. You just got to just start building manufacturing plants. So you got to do, So you're talking about so they put the most corrupt, despotic, moronic leaders. Everybody said, if you look at these African summits, you say, God damn, look at these goofy, they even from the, not if you even don't personally, from the outside, like, God damn, look all fucked up. I think that's an accident. They're all corrupt and weird and shit. 70 or root to that goofy woman. All these goofy African leaders, they all like backward and stupid. It's on purpose. It's not an accident. To keep the African people impoverished. Everybody feeds off of Africa. You guys just something everybody want to educate Africa. They go, the white man. You guys are African. Hey, what does Europe produce that's in their soil, in their ground? What does they have? They have everything. Do they? Europe has fucked up soil. Food sucks. They have no manufacturing because they don't have any damn plants where they had your manufacturing because they stored all your minerals. But that's why they came to Africa. Everybody got rich in Africa. They were impoverished. But that's never taught. That's on purpose. Like with Joby said, I never understood. I was like, when I went to Africa, I was like, what's with the Ethiopia, then with the Ghana, then with the Nigeria? What's with this school fee shit? Why is the government not paying for the schools? What is going on? Then I was young, and I said, I meet the average African, they didn't know shit. They ain't know shit even about Africa. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm from America. How the fuck I know more about Africa than you do? I said, this is, I'm not a moron. I can put two to the gift. All these African countries, they want the common. They don't got to pay school fees. This is crazy. Then you go outside of Africa, where you go, the school is fucking free.
What's even more crazy, the churches look so beautiful than the schools. That's even more fucked up. The churches look really pretty than the schools. That's one of the images that has been circulated online.
True.
We have good churches with glasses and all that, but our schools are really all like wrecked up, no desks, no chairs, nothing. It's super crazy. But let me continue with this video. We were talking about, like I said, the mineral resources, and this is a video of Ibrahim Traore literally giving his point not only on that, but on a lot of politics.
Against your government, will you let them do it?
It's not my government, it's the people's government.
But you are the president.
Yes, but it's the people's government.
So he's talking about for him how it's been the people who are deciding again, and also addressing why political parties are dangerous. And for him, especially looking at the condition of him, returning political parties is going to bring insecurity in the country, and also focused on him, because we know most of these people, again, like he said, The political parties, there should be terms and conditions they meet before forming a political party. But it's crazy again in Africa. You wake up today. I was given an example. I'm a Kamba or I'm a Luo. I wake up and say, today I'm the political party leader of the Kamba nation. And then we're gonna be having Raila Jr., a grandson, or maybe I don't know. I'm the Luo political party leader. And then we have the Kikuyu, let's say Ruto's grandson wakes up out of nowhere and starts saying, I'm the Kikuyu political leader. And that is division. There is no unity. That's what I was trying to explain to someone here. I was saying I should not talk about Pan-Africanism because there's no Pan-Africanism talk in our country. What you need to say, again, I'm going to say, is that there's no Pan-Africanism exercise. There's a difference. The talk is there. The exercise is different. But are we trying to actually exercise more on Pan-Africanism? Yes, people are. Africans are. We're starting to understand we were divided. These all maps on the map. There's no division on the ground. It's not like I need to go to Tanzania. I'm going to find a whole wall where I need to knock the gate before I pass there. It's only a border. And the only difference is just, it's a, how do I say? It's just like some police cages over there of people just who are giving you terms and conditions when you're going to another country, as if we never used to travel to other countries, you know? So again, we don't need those political parties.
People who decided that we should be here. And if another part of the people says they're going to protest against the current government, thank you. Are you ready to accept them? To accept them?
There is none. There is none. That is something else. I don't know why this journalist was asking that question, because there is none. The people of Burkina Faso themselves, they're saying, remember when they were pushing about election where Burkina Faso needs to hold an election date?
Because they're always European back, Joe. But it was some of that fake democracy. It's the same thing. They talked about Iran and democracy. It's all fake. Understand. When white people talk about they give you your fake, they gave you all these fake political systems to keep domination. So why in Africa go back to African-centered government? Never did it, because it's to make sure you always feed Europe and white people and the white Jays. So the reason why they're going after Iran is always to make sure they got complete control of everything. They never changed their savage nature. Told you, when they go crazy, they can attack and control everything. So they blood and lust. But shout out to Iran, it was the only country that knew. I don't know why other countries don't know. They prepared. They knew that eventually these savages were coming. So they've been preparing for 40 years to fight these people. They knew they were finally coming. They didn't know what date. They knew they were coming. That's their nature. Because they'd already came, had the country for 20 years. Right? And they always talk about their fake democracy. All these puppets they put in all these dictators and treat people like fucked up. They don't believe in no democracy. It's all fake. They always put dictators in so they can steal your resources and then they kill everybody up in the country. When they got Iran back in 1952, when they overthrew a democratically elected president, Mossadegh, they put their puppet in the Shah. They made him a king. Oh, make these kings. And he brutalized the people for 25 fucking years, and they had a revolution, overthrew his ass. So since they overthrew his ass, they've been trying to get the country back for the last 45 years. They didn't use chemical gas on these people. They're the terrorists. The terrorists are them. They inverted. They're the ones the terrorism all over the world. They don't kill people in the world because the greed is insatiable. It's never quenched. The greed is never quenched. So that's why I want you to know real history. They're talking about all these South Iran, all these fake puppet Arab states. They're powerful. Those Arab states are puppet states. They were put there by the Europeans to serve their interests and to keep those resources going to them. There was no fucking Abu Dhabi or Emirates 100 years ago. There was no fucking Saudi Arabia 100 years ago. There was no fucking Kuwait 100 years ago. None of these fake countries in the so-called Northeast Africa, where they reclaimed the Middle East, didn't even exist. They were created by white people to serve them. So that's why you have all these American bases there. That's why Iran said, hey, you got to get out the country and start blowing these bases up, because you use these bases to come attack us all the time, because we're the only country that doesn't have a Rothschild bank in here. We're not dominated. So remember, for them, it's all dominated. So that's what Africa's doing. Africa's been dominated for the last 500 years since the white man showed up on them shores. So Africans have been put in poverty, impoverished. That's why you got good people in Africa. Why is there no good leadership? So that's why you got even Toure, who's like what? A misnomer, a out of the ordinary, because he sees power. You got good people, they're just not gonna let them come to power because of them goofy democratic nonsense. It's controlled by the Europeans. So they're never gonna allow anyone to come to power to a democratic system that's gonna go against them. So you must take power. And when he took power, so whole scam is make sure Africans don't cater to their people. You must cater to Europe. All those resources must go to Europeans and then China. They created China. That China shit. They created China. That's why your resources go to China or go to Europe, but they never go to Africa. But like I said, common sense. Just go study Ghana when they got supposedly free. They don't want to build manufacturing everywhere. So he had too many jobs. He couldn't even. Ghanaians had too many jobs, but he forgot his people were stupid. He didn't have time to educate them. They're ignorant as fuck. That's been 100 years of damn colonialism. You don't know shit. You're still tribal. You're goofy. You worship your enemy still. Just like today. Why Joby said, we don't know white people are enemy. What? What? You would have came, raped, robbed you, put you in slavery camps, cut off your dick and balls. You don't know your enemies? You think, how can this even be? So this is how bad it is. So when you get, that's why they keep trying to kill this man, because he's overturning what Europeans have set and designed in Africa. And so now just three countries keeping their shit. Europe is going and becoming impoverished, and they keep saying we got to go kill him. We got to kill the guy in Mali. We got to kill the guy in Niger, because all of your resources always went to white people to make them rich. They don't got any money. It's out of Africa. And so that's the reason why you got school fees. Most Africans are uneducated, and they kept uneducated their whole life, whole damn life. That's why that's done. If you cared about like same thing he did, he made education free in Burkina Faso. He said you got to be educated. He's like, you know what the fuck is going on. You got to know who your enemies are. The African's like a grown ass baby. You don't know what the fuck is going on in the world. He doesn't know who his enemies are, so he can't even. You don't know what that old term. He doesn't know which way is up.
Education.
Yeah.
Education. Like you say, the school fees has denied so many education, even to understand the beat of the lies of the history we've been given in our books. Even the beat. Most of the people, like the video I shared last week about the DRC Congo, you heard that guy say he earns $3. And in that type of a system where you're earning $3, you're supposed to feed. He has 8 kids. 8 kids, how are you supposed to feed them with $3?
$3.
Take them to school in a system where school fees is $100 plus. Literally.
Yep.
There's no, most of the schools, there's no, if you find a school actually $100 less plus, less than $100, you're very lucky. And bet sure that is actually a child probably from grade 4, 5, or maybe 6. From grade 7, the school fees is expensive. Even some schools,
I'm like, school fees is high as shit.
Yeah, education.
Meaning that they can protest. There's no problem. They can protest. In fact, those who want to go for a plot, that's a form of protest too. They can protest. They are free. Is it
that precisely you are thinking about the upcoming organization of elections?
Our commitment still stands.
You are still aiming for July 2024?
We're not there yet. I hope that by the end of the season, we can make serious progress in the struggle. And that's it, God willing.
Excellent, but that's not it.
This is
July 2024, but as you know, governing is the law.
It's already 2026.
Do you actually foresee that you will
I don't
meet
know why she said 2024, because there's a 13-hour video. I don't know why she said that.
this deadline?
For the final conclusion of the transitional period, that was originally set out in the charter.
To govern is to anticipate very well. So from the very first day, we made it clear to people that we only wanted to spend the minimum amount of time possible in this struggle. If, for example, certain actors had let us fight seriously, we wouldn't even be at this stage right now. But people decided to make life difficult for us. When we realized there was an equipment problem, we ordered a lot of equipment from various places. Friendly countries, for example, immediately sent us our equipment. And the countries that are still under the control of imperialists, or even those that are themselves imperialists, also ordered a lot of equipment. They seem to decide to block our equipment. That causes delays. Who is responsible for these delays?
Same people.
And at one point, we were told here, you say we need to move quickly to hold the elections. And yet it's you.
They're landlocked. So stuff's got to come in from the ocean, shipped in. So
who are blocking.
So they keep the other puppet state, the other puppet presidents along the coast of Africa. That's why so the goofy countries got to invade these countries and take them over. But anyway, so the white people say, nope, don't allow no material to go into Burkina Faso because we got to destroy the country. We got to make sure it doesn't work. We got to make sure it doesn't work. We got to destroy them. So,
yeah, because you also questioned at the beginning of the video. It's crazy how the so-called jihadists, they have all the advanced weapons, but
yeah,
when he tries to buy, not even ask, when he's trying to buy the same weapons or more advanced from countries like America, France, they're not giving them the license to do so. They have
because he had all these jihadists kill these weapons, and they don't have a factory in Africa because the scam is everybody's uneducated in Africa. The white man makes these terrorists so to keep your countries fucked up so they can steal from you. They're the ones killing the people in your country. You think it's some Arab and Christian nonsense, whatever, because you're uneducated. You're woefully ignorant on purpose. It's like I was arguing with some Kenyan yesterday. See me mess on my TikTok. You're like, oh, I blame Iran for the bombing of Kenya and Tanzania back in 98. I said, you crazy? So I talked to plain to him. He came back, no, I said, you're paid. Because Israel has all these paid agents on, especially in Africa. I said, there's no way you're this stupid. You're paid. There's no way you're this stupid. To not support Israel no more and blah, blah, blah. Israel's the one who kept Africans in apartheid, you moron. Israel practices open racism everywhere they go, you moron. So you're a paid idiot. You're paid. There's no way you're not paid. I told you where to go look up information. You sent me a message talking about, I don't believe in false flags and all that. That's all. You're paid. You're paid propagandists. Israel got paid propagandists, the youth all throughout Africa. I said, you're paid then. That's what it is.
What's his name? Everyone can send me the account name.
I seen the video. I sent it to you.
Okay, that's crazy.
Our equipment. You don't want us to wage war. So what's the problem? What do you want? If he answers this question, that's it.
Are you telling me that as long as there is no security, there will be no election? There will not?
It will be an election that will only be held in the cities of Ouaga, Bobo, and a few other towns located nearby. Those who want to run must be able to go everywhere in Burkina. That's it, to go campaign and everything. So we need to ensure security first. We can't just, but why did we come? We came for security, so that Burkina Faso can live with dignity and in peace. And once that's ensured, people will be able to move around freely, go wherever
they just be putting it up. This bill is like from 2023. That's why he's saying all this
want and campaign. And then allow all Burkinabe to choose their president. That's what we hope for.
So going to elections is not an absolute priority for you at the moment?
It's not a priority. I'm telling you that clearly. Security is the priority.
There is talk of political reforms in Burkina Faso, a new constitution, among other things, a referendum. Are you currently thinking about that?
The current laws do not allow us to move forward calmly because there are many
ideas. What do you criticize about the current constitution, in any case?
What I can tell you is that in the coming days, regarding the partial modification, you will see what it concerns. And we're going to address one aspect. We are
across the vast and diverse continent of Africa.
Maybe you don't see it that way. For example, we imagine that the different Burkinabe faiths, the Sahaj, all the representatives of the various ethnic groups, don't you think they should be able to give their opinion on the decisions that need to be made? Because this constitution is solely the opinion of a handful of enlightened individuals. But the general public, they don't necessarily understand what's going on.
Exactly.
So we, for example, would like to open things up. That's it. And we think that it's the traditional religious leaders and so on. It's leaders within the different communities.
So you're considering integrating some participatory approaches?
Of course, people need to be able to give their opinions on certain important decisions. That is excellent news. We will also
All right,
thoroughly
Joby, I sent it
investigate
to
the
you.
issue.
Okay, I'll check it out. But yeah, as we pause on that, literally, I'm gonna say shout out to Ibrahim Traore. I love this. The first statement, which I'd say it is all combined on all the topics I've discussed on looking at how
What happened?
looking at America running low on critical minerals. But like he said, how is it that the same people who have been here taking resources from us without us benefiting, the same people, when we ask them for weapons, they don't want to give them to us? Why am I supposed to still partner, collaborate with you? That's the first question. And that's why we go back to the same article I was reading literally, and what most of the African countries, if really they're following this direction, I hope it sticks that way. Countries like Zimbabwe, which has banned the exportation of lithium, they did that like months ago. I hope that sticks, because you can see the Chinese begging to return their companies there. We have that is Senegal, which has revoked 71 mining licenses and freezing the associated accounts to recover roughly $438 million because they're not meeting the terms and condition of Senegal. So shout out to them. We also saw Botswana saying they're going to be locally processing their resources.
They're not gonna allow anymore. Yeah, Botswana maybe saying they're not gonna allow any more minerals to just leave. But that exactly, you become why would you let your minerals leave and don't process them there? That's what the money wasn't processed. They're your minerals. So the Europeans and the Chinese and Asians don't have them. So, but they're wealthy because they're wealthy off your back. You haven't developed militaries. You've been kept fake borders, goofy tribal shit that you don't understand and unite. Because without Africa, that means they're gonna come see you. So you ain't so you two divided to prepare like Iran. They're gonna come see you because you're the wealth. Just like they got it, just like Iran has control over the oil over there because they can't get that oil to market. So know your leverage and apply it as such. Stop being bootlicked. Stop being cowards. Start developing. Stop being tribal. That tribal shit is crazy to me still. You can't see that you're the same people. You're talking about you go across the border. You can't tell these the same people. This is how bad it made Africa. You can't go to Uganda, South Africa, fucking Congo. No, you're the same fucking people. You can't. You're that fucking stupid. It's fucking the white man is so wickedly brilliant. This is crazy to me. Shout out to the lady that they call the AI lady in Kenya, putting all these tribes back together. This is where it came from. So you're doing the history of Kenya. I told you came from one fucking tribe where you split it, but I knew that linguistically. I knew that. All these fake fucking tribes. I hate that's a Canberra. That's a Lua. That's a motherfucker. 500 years ago, you're the same fucking people, you idiot. That's why I told you directly. The same people from Kenya went down and created what they call Eswatini today and fucking Swaziland. They come from the Kenyan region. Those are still you, same people, same cultures, almost identically the same. But those are different. Those are the Swaziland people. Those are the people. You know, goofy shit. The only people that do that shit is the stupid Africans. Fucking crazy. These are different people. These are, and I must fight them because they're not my tribe. Tribe means small clan. You separate it into smaller groups. Okay, stupid? I'm gonna call you stupid. You separate into smaller groups a lot of times because you've been invaded by Europeans. So you split up and went different parts of Africa because you were being invaded by these savages. And so you're separated for a lot of times for your safety, for your damn survival. Today, you know what I'm saying? Like some dude told me, I don't like you because you're Kikuyu. Like, what? What? What are you talking about?
Tribalism has really ruined us. But as we get closer to winding up, I'm going to wrap up with a few videos here. We have this guy who's talking about what is happening in Ethiopia. Let me share then. We see what's really happening about the food and all.
Deeply troubling news to share about what's happening in Ethiopia. And I'm not talking about the world. Although I will talk about a lot about that. Rather, my focus today is about a 2023 development that could jeopardize food security together with the agricultural heritage of Ethiopia and the Horn of Africa. Last year, researchers in USA created a gene-edited variety of teff, sacred staple food of over 100 million people in Ethiopia. This is dangerous and unacceptable. Because of these four reasons: safety fears. There are serious doubts about the safety of gene editing technology. Unexpected DNA damage and cancer risks have been found.
Of course. And let me say something real quick. Sorry for cutting you off. Let me say something. So I think it's like the Kenyans are the ones breaking up quick. Also, the genetically modified foods that they're making labs, guys, they're making specifically to unalive African people. Standard. That's why they're making they trying to flush it down Africa. This food also, like not just cancer, causes all kinds of disease within African bodies. It's fake food, so they genetically modifying it to unalive you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was to say shout out to Kenyans. There's this that lady you like. I think she's the one who started the campaign because she's also the one who brought light into Kenyans how we are being forced into adapting the genetically modified food and the Kenyan cows where they were being told the Kenyan farmers being told to vaccinate your cows. So currently there's I'd say protest to the local farmers to stop buying these packed seeds because those are the GMO.
Yeah, that's what exactly. Yeah, that's her. Just stop exactly. Start sharing your seeds and buying your seeds. Exactly. So you talking about discipline. Like I told you, you can share. If you didn't want the Chinese square, you don't patronize. You don't go to it. Like I said again, you don't buy the seeds. You let it collapse. You learn to have solidarity with other African people. You take the seeds and you share them amongst yourselves. You don't buy them packed GMO shit. You just don't buy them. And it's place to collapse because all your politicians are bought and paid for and they're corrupt. They just they make Africans so fucked up with fake money, fake paper. Oh, money! I don't do anything, please, daddy. Oh, yes, right. We're gonna destroy our own people for some fake paper. Yes, we all gotta do the fake seeds because it don't never make any sense why Africa does decisions that hurt their people. Because the morons that they put there are so rabidly dogged about this fake paper money that they'll sell everybody out. Go ahead, Jim.
Do you really want to expose Africans to such dangers through their daily bread?
We've been long exposed. That's another thing that we don't understand. Actually, with the fact, I always say the fact that we think GMOs are just getting to Africa right now, this is something that has been long existing. I've said personally, when I was young, I used to see our schools, our public schools, where in the village we used to get this genetically modified maize, yellow in color. Like they look yellow in color and they taste funny, like not like the normal maize. So you can tell the difference.
Because it's GMO, it's fake. It's fake
and then
food.
the rice, we also had the rice and the porridge flour. Oh my God, I love that porridge flour. Not understanding what we're being fed. I really loved it. It's crazy. But these things, because that's when you could see, it didn't make sense to me why we're being given food by, again, the NGOs, yet we have farms. We can farm. Again, we know how to store food just in case there's any drought. Africans, we know how to preserve food. We know how to store food. There's smoking, whatever, ways of preservation of food. Keeping maize in stock. Then after the rainy season, that's when you pick because we used to like put them in patches. You could take like, even this cup is enough for you to just like, you plant your maize, like, I don't know how many, half an acre or whatever. This cup.
Seeds. Yeah, of course.
And you store and you replant that during the rainy season. When it's almost rainy season, you're gonna harvest in the next 2, 3, 4 months. Literally, it didn't make sense to me. And then I started seeing my uncle now selling his my grandpa, because it was an uncle to my mom. He used to started selling all his oranges, all of them. Today, I go to my same grandpa, I don't find no oranges because he sold away all the seeds. Not understanding, you need to go back. buy the seeds because you didn't keep any seeds for yourself. Now you have to go back to a shop where they're bringing these genetically modified seeds for you to start replanting. And then you ask yourself, why isn't this actually working? Which fertilizer do I need to use? And then farmers, I don't understand farmers. They'll use all types of, this is not working, I'm going to use this one. This is not working, I'm going to use this one.
Because of the ignorance. They're kept uneducated. Because the soil, those seeds. Go ahead, Joe. What now?
Yeah, I'm saying they need a cow dung and chicken dung. When mixed together, you have like the best
fertilizer. Exactly. They're uneducated now on purpose, and they use it fake. Once you put the fake seeds in your soil, it destroys the soil, so you can never get. This how diabolical, evil this European. Once you use these fake soils, your soil will never produce regular food anymore. You got to keep using the fake soil. So now you got to go pay the seeds from them. When seeds are free, every real food, God gives you seeds for free. Everything has seeds in it, and it's free. You take the seeds and replant them again for free. Europeans now, of course, trying to unalive you. Then they got the seeds that now you got to go pay them. So you constantly keep you impoverished and keeping them wealthy. It's always a scam. It's always some diabolical shit with these people. Always. Always. That's what you better learn, Zab. It's always some diabolical shit. Always. Never know what every time. Not all of them bad. Yeah, they're all bad. It's always some diabolical shit. Always. Go ahead.
2. Loss of diversity. Aggressive new varieties could wipe out Ethiopia's 6,000 traditional teff types
that
have been carefully bred over millennia.
The guy in there is a puppet. He's a puppet moron. I mean, whatever his goopy name is.
To suit diverse climate.
I finally found someone called Takamoto, the way you pronounced it. I was like, this is kids' damn Takamoto.
I just be joking how Japanese names sound.
I know. It's crazy that I found someone who is called that way. He's one among the Safari Rally drivers who won the event that was here in Kenya during the weekend. It's crazy. I was like, this is Takamoto word. Like,
these would be devastating for resilience. 3. More chemicals. Gene-edited crops have often opened the door to increased pesticide and fertilizer use, harming both health and environment. 4. Corporate control. There are worrying signs that these new teff could be patented and controlled by multinational seed companies
That's what it's for.
at the expense of farmers' autonomy and rights. The research happened in the US with opaque motives. We cannot naively assume that African interests are the priority here. That's why we must resist this latest threat to our food sovereignty. Our ancestors bestowed a beautiful legacy of agricultural biodiversity. We must defend this inheritance and the rights of African farmers and Africans to decide their own food systems, nature-based farming systems like agroecology, and not genetic modification are the path to true food sovereignty, sustainability, and self-determination. Let us unite to uphold our food sovereignty so that we can secure Africa's true food security.
Yeah.
So
So we have that, and then we had, of course, this lady. I believe she's talking to Africans, not just Kenyans. Yeah, she's talking to Africans. So if you bump into this, I hope people can actually put this as a protest.
Sure.
Like,
she's the one. Yeah, she's the one. She's the one been tracing back all the tribes of Kenya, showing that you come from one people. I already knew that, but understanding linguistics, the languages, said doesn't make sense. If you go back to the history, we were once this people, the Marero people, and this people, they become the Kikuyu, they become the Kamba right here, and this. Yeah, lady, I already know that. So you can't tell that you're the same people. It blows my fucking mind that you don't know. There's an origin where you come from one people, then you just separate it through time and space. You separate it. That's it's like that's just be common sense to me, but it ain't. But go ahead, Joe.
Yeah.
Against packed seeds. In the wake of serious attack on our food sovereignty, my fellow Africans, we've started a campaign against packed seeds. In the wake of serious attack on our food sovereignty and food security, we've started a campaign to urge every single farmer not to buy packed seeds. Buy seeds from your fellow farmers. This is going to do one thing. We're going to kill this whole GMO being pushed on the Africans.
Exactly.
Two, we're going to create job opportunities for farmers. Farmers were farming just for food production. We want more farmers to farm for seed production in every single community. We want farmers that are majoring in farming indigenous seeds to sell within the community.
And now we
So
lost
the
traditions to the point we have white people like it's I don't know in Zimbabwe or whatever who are teaching Africa. Man, that shit really pisses me off. This is I'd support now the Ugandan. I think it was the Ugandan Prime Minister or Minister, one of the persons, or Museveni. You are starving because you don't know how to farm. Exactly. How don't you know how to farm? I understand the condition that we're suffering or going through right now as Africans, where we can see the leaders again selling our lands to people in the name of mineral resources exploitation or all that, or the UAE carbon benefits on all
Shout out, and that's what Joe just said. Shout out to the Iranians blowing up the UAE. So the UAE cannot send that money that they get from the Europeans to go and destabilize the Sudan. I mean, because they're stealing oil and diamonds and gold out of Sudan. So now the RSF is now falling apart because Iran's breaking fucking the fake UAE's back. Breaking their back. And so now the RSF is not getting any funding. And so now the Sudanese military is now reclaiming the lands that the RSF have claimed, for these white people, for the UAE and all these other people that did it. So that's why I told you this dude. I want you for that video. I just sent it. This is crazy because I'm telling you. Even that's why Sudan is getting free, because they can't send the money to their terrorist group called the RSF. That's why Rudo's will not get RSF people citizenship in Kenya, right? Because he's a puppet state. So they're not being able to them getting blown up. They cut up the money, they send the money and the weapons to the RSF. So now they're starting to get wiped out. That's right. That's right. Go ahead, Joe.
Campaigners, stop buying packed seeds. Take this message, interpret it into your local languages, into Kiswahili, sell it to the lowest person in your community. Do not buy packed seeds.
So Iranian embassy.
Exactly. So yeah, no more buying that. And the moment we're gonna start practicing that, imagine would have killed a whole, again, like kids is saying, a system that is slowly trying to push itself into Africa, not just Kenya. This is something they're pushing. You can say South Africa.
That's why she said that. Why she said that, brother.
South Africans are already injecting their cows with injections they don't know because of a disease they don't even know where it came from. It goes back to the Hegelian dialectic. Ask yourself, I should ask myself, how do I have white people or foreign companies bringing me a solution of a problem that started here? How do they know the cause? Again, critical thinking like that. If you know the person who caused the problem, how do you know the solution? You are not even part of this problem when it started. Were you? That's the question. Were you really part of the problem? Because I'm starting to think you're part of the problem. Critical thinking, Africans. I don't know. It's so many things that are happening to or in front of our faces that we don't know even how to question in simple ways. Just simple ways. But the last video of the day, the video Kit has shared, let's see what's up.
Well, you might be wondering.
Pause. Understand, this guy's paid. That's giving it for nowhere. This is how you know this is how propaganda works. They got all these paid people on these social media programs. This guy's paid. False flags are Iranian propaganda. Everybody knows that's a lie. Propaganda comes from the West. Iran didn't have no money for propaganda. This guy in Kenya, he's paid. But you know that. This is what propaganda looks like. He's a paid propagandist.
I don't even know who the F this is in Kenya here.
Well, he's a paid propagandist. Tell you that.
I'm not. And I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. The parallel reason why is because of what happened about 20 26 years ago.
He's talking about the bombing
1998,
of
August
the
7th,
Kenyan,
1998.
the bombing
I'll
of
tell
the
you,
Kenyan goddamn embassy and the Tanzanian embassy. That wasn't done by Iran. I try to tell them more. That's a false flag done by Israel and America. These are facts to create this new thing they wanted to create called terrorism. Remember, there was no defined terrorism yet. So they wanted to do that so they could start putting these terrorist groups all over the world. And as I'm telling this moron this is easily known. It's even in when Joby showed you the American aid, how they showed you how they sponsored the terrorist groups. They did that. He said, "Oh no, it's Iranian propaganda." What? You're paid. You're paid. Good. You're impoverished in Kenya.
August 7th, 1990, in case you don't know. You see, on August 7th, at around 10:30 a.m. in the morning, a truck loaded with explosives headed outside, was parked outside the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi, and it exploded, right? It was a huge blast that flattened.
See, and I told you about the same truck shit. This a lot. A truck bomb can't take out a whole building. That's how these morons. Like I told you, the same they did in America with the FBI building in Oklahoma City. In '95, 3 years before this happened. We know everybody knows now it's a lie. This is a lie. This is a lie. People put bombs throughout that American embassy to blow it up. Because you can't use a truck bomb across the street and blow up a whole fucking building. See, that's why you don't even know physics, how science works. That's why these guys are paid propagandists. Go ahead, Joe.
Right, the embassy, and it shattered the glasses of the cooperative bank building. Now, the aftermath of that was more than 212 people killed, among whom were 12 Americans, right? And also more than 4,000.
He's stupid. They kill Americans all the time in false flags. We think 9/11 all Americans in the towers, all of them died. Who do you think did that? Oh, America and the Mossad. They did it, stupid. So that was you don't understand false flag. Go ahead, Joby.
You still want us to continue with him?
Yeah, I want you to listen out. He's paid. I want you guys to understand. He's not good. He's paid. Because when I showed him where to go find something, he came back with some goofy comment. He's paid. I want you to understand propaganda works in Africa. This moron is paid to push false narratives. He's a propagandist.
So the number of deaths might have been a lot more. Right. You might be wondering, what does this have to do with Iran? Right. Now I'll tell you why. You see, the second in command of the Al Qaeda at that time was a man called.
Now remember, we showed you Al Qaeda was created by the CIA, by America. I told him that. The second control was Al Qaeda, who we know was created by the CIA. Joby looked that up already a couple years before. Google didn't even lie. They didn't take that down yet. That CIA was created by Al Qaeda, created by the CIA and the Mossad. We go ahead, Joe. That's what I told you. This guy's a paid propaganda.
Right. And he's thought to have been the one who masterminded this attack. Right. And the same one the one that occurred about around the same time in Tanzania, killing more than 12. Right. And do you know where Al-Narsi went after committing this atrocious act? As you guess it, he hid right inside Iran, right? But he didn't hide for long. Okay, he probably hid for too long, in my opinion. Because in 2020, and can you guess the date? In 2020, August 7th, right, which is a few years back, the Israelis finally got the shit out of him, right? And they took his life.
The Israelis finally got this all lies. Remember, as Israel, that's why you had all these uprisings in Iran that Israel and America did. It was just two weeks ago. All the agents be in Iran. They tried to tell us that all these agents be there. These are Mossad. They didn't kill him. If I got rid of him, they didn't kill him for the reason that you're talking about, stupid. He's obviously a Mossad and CIA agent. And when I tell you this, you're a propagandist. Go ahead.
Good man. He'd killed more than 200 Kenyans and 12 Americans, right? And hundreds of more.
Did you kill
from those 2 Americans? We don't know how many attacks. We don't know how much attacks, Al-Qaeda has made. Too many, right? So probably he orchestrated the deaths of more than 2,000 people, right? And Iran took him in and it sheltered him and provided him protection for more than 22 years. So yeah, no, I'm not feeling sorry for the Iranian regime that has now fallen, and I don't think any Kenyan should. We've been victims of terror.
You see, he doesn't even know what's happening, even still with Iran.
Pause it, Joe. No, he's paid. He's a propagandist. You can tell them. Now, Joe, I want you to type in the Google, say, was Al Qaeda a product of the CIA? Was Al Qaeda? This shit he's talking about, he's Al Qaeda. Iran didn't create no fucking Al Qaeda. He could have Googled this like you, but say, or did the CIA create Al Qaeda? The answer is yes. They're going to say, oh, it's complicated. But Google, it's complicated. It's complicated.
No, Al Qaeda was not created by the CIA. It was established.
Afghanistan.
It was established in 1988 by Osman bin Laden and other Arab fighters near the end of Soviet Afghan war.
Afghanistan. See,
while the US
now they're taking down. Now scroll down some more. Scroll down to go to the second page of that. Go to the second page and see it, because you know that's a lie. We know the CIA created Al Qaeda. This is a known fact now. See, remember, they control Google, so now they try to wipe up all the different information. We know Al Qaeda was created by the CIA.
Okay, just a minute. Let me.
Yes, I mean, documenting old CIA people tell you the truth. Yes, we created Al Qaeda.
So this one says how the US helped create Al Qaeda.
Yeah, I help it. They created it. I'm gonna say you gotta go to, they always know you're just gonna go to the first thing you see on Google, not the top thing and reading. Yeah, that help. They created it. It's a CIA back thing.
Yeah, the fact that the United States has a long and torrid history of backing terrorism
Exactly.
will surprise only those who watch the news and ignore history. The CIA aligned itself with the extreme Islam during the Cold War era. Back then, America saw the world in rather simple terms. On one side, the Soviet Union and the Third World nationalism, which America regarded as a Soviet tool, and on the other side, Western nations and militant political Islam, which America considered an ally in the struggle against the Soviet Union. And the article, all of it continues with the same.
Yeah, read the article. He can look that up. This is a fact. This Iranian propaganda dummy. Iran didn't have no power to create terrorist groups, you fucking idiot. Especially back in the 80s. And I know what you're talking about. Those terrorist groups created by Mossad. I'm going to like Israel. That's why I know you're paid. You're propagandist. This is too well known today. Not to act like, the Iranians blew up. The Iranians didn't blow up shit. The Mossad did that, just like the Iranians. And they said that the radical terrorists blew up 9/11. Everybody knows that's a lie. How many people did America kill, even at home? These are called false flags, stupid. That they do. So they killed at least 4,000 Americans. Americans killed at least 4,000 to get everybody. Oh, we got to go to war against what? Iraq. We got to go beat Iraq. Iraq had nothing to do with no fucking 9/11. Neither did Afghanistan. So we knew it was the Mossad, and they caught Mossad agents outside the towers laughing and like, yeah, good. They were all clapping, and the FBI picked them up. Of course, they were let go because those were part of the plots. How they know that 9/11 was going to happen that day? How these Israelis knew that 9/11 was going to happen? They were going to be right across the street. But when the buildings got blown the fuck up and coming down, and how they know that was going to happen that day? Because they're part of it. Of course, the FBI, which is an institution that's controlled by the Israelis, so like the CIA, they let the guys go. So we know they were part of it. We know that's an inside job.
Yeah,
that killed 3,000 Americans, not just 12. But anyway.
As we wind up, thank you so much for being with us. I see. Let me go to the comment. Shout to you. George Guy Jibajaba once again. Karibu Sana. Ali was saying, yes, it's raining and he's lost his powers yesterday. Byron, Royal Constrictor, Karibu Sana.
Yeah, it's bad. I got to head up that way. It's terrible. It's supposed to be, so they're gonna send me into a damn severe storm all across the damn eastern part of the country. I'm like, man, what the hell, man? Dangerous hell out there, right? They got tornadoes and shit all going up around that area. Man, what?
Yeah, but Jiba Jaba says white like Votron to go against Iran. Jiba Jaba says, yep, farmers would leave a part of the crop to go seed and collect them, and some places that's illegal. Wicked. I know, it's crazy. John Mosquito, dear Kenyans, has anybody seen Job is missing orange? Man, I don't know, man. I've been looking. Crazy thing, I think last weekend I went all the way to the market to just look for oranges, and I couldn't find the ones I was looking for. The ones that were available are the GMO ones.
Wow.
I was looking for small oranges because I was craving oranges for some reason. So I didn't find any. So I think it's not yet the orange season. But I also see Jaba says Iran has bases underneath the mountains, underneath the desert. Trump kicked Hornet's nest without a plan, and the Iran leaders were walking in downtown Tehran, shaking hands and taking selfies, smiling.
They were. They said, because remember, because Pete Hegseth told you, Pete Hegseth was like Bad Dad Bob, right? He's like, the Iranians, they're cowards, they're running scared, and they're hiding, bring this stuff out. They got the Iranians walking down the street talking to people. Hey, how you doing? you good? Make sure you stay safe. They're supposed to be hiding in their bunkers and then blah, blah, blah. And if you guys don't know, Iran sank an American destroyer yesterday. Sank that shit. So, I think Bibi, I believe all the reports. I think Bibi Netanyahu's dead and stanking. I think they got his ass. I think they got all. You ain't seen him in 6 days. They put all these crazy AI videos out, these old fake videos. Both in a coffee shop drinking coffee, and the coffee doesn't move. He's drinking coffee, and the coffee stays in the same part. This is AI. They finally got us wicked. That's why I wanted my damn internet to come on. And it was all messed up all the week, but it got cut. Somebody I put up a new fence, and they cut the lines underneath the ground, and then my internet never came back. Not really strong enough to do shows. I was about to do shows Saturday. I couldn't get in my cameras to come over. Like, God damn, I gotta talk about this Iran shit.
Yeah, but much love, family. Thank you, Jaba, for the compliment. And yes, I was craving oranges. Don't you crave fruits? At least I can crave some fruits. I never used to eat fruits when I came here with you guys. Please, you see, I'm having some fresh juice here.
Oh, shit. Yeah, Joby, I ate so many melons when I was a kid. What's I got to eat melons today?
I'm still not eating melon. You can't convince me for shit to eat melon. But yeah, this is some orange and passion juice. So yeah, don't you crave fruits, Jiba Jaba? I don't know. But much love, family. Thank you so much for joining. That has been my time with you guys. For those who shall be catching this on a replay, I hope you guys enjoy. It's been a great conversation, and I hope you enjoy it as well. Peace and light.
That's what I was saying. Pregnant, exactly. Is Joby pregnant? Exactly. I ain't want to say that, Jibba Jabba. People crave orange when they pregnant. I'm about to say that too, Jibba, because that's true. Wait around here. You pregnant around here?
Nah.
That's what I'm about to say too, Jibba. I ain't want to say that. They crave when they do crave orange when they pregnant. Shit. Just about to